All right, what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Three Admirals. As always, we're brought to you by houseofotaku.com. If you guys have any anime needs, head over to House of Otaku on Instagram. There's a lot of posters, stickers, lights, a lot of cool stuff like that. As always, joined by my boy Kevin. Josh, say what's up.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Excited for this discussion. Let's get it.
And getting into this week's discussion, we got a really hot topic around here. We're going to be talking about everybody's favorite warlord, Weevil. He's not been in the story much. He's not had a lot of appearances, but that doesn't mean he won't have and doesn't have an impact on the story right now. So getting us started, I'm going to bring us back to, we're going to go back to chapter 802. So this is when Borsalino and Kizaru, or Borsalino, aka Kizaru, is talking about our boy Weevil. And to start with a quote, he says, "Everywhere he goes, the civilian damage is tremendous. I don't know if we can overlook this, even if he is in the Seven Warlords." He even goes on to state, no matter what bloodline he's from, he possesses one very significant source of value to us. As a pirate, he is extremely powerful, just like the real Whitebeard in his youth, at least in terms of strength. So already right there, we're getting comparisons to who? The real Whitebeard in his youth. And in terms of strength, how it doesn't really get much stronger than a Yonko, right? This is also the same Whitebeard who was regarded as the world's most powerful pirate at a point in time. It is referring to him in his youth, so maybe he's not on that level of a developed Whitebeard, but it is an interesting comparison to make nonetheless. I think it's really interesting that this came out right around the time when the Rocks was starting to get introduced. Some of us here think the Rocks are going to come back. Some of us don't think the Rocks are going to come back. But if the Rocks were to be reunited, it's just very interesting that Kizaru's making the comparison to Whitebeard, because if there was to be a reunion of the Rocks, Weevil would be the perfect person to step in as that stand-in for Whitebeard, especially since he was compared to him. Also, Weevil's mom, a former what pirate? She was a former Rocks pirate, right? Also knew Whitebeard all the way back. So Weevil's mom actually says, "We have to find Marco the Phoenix and put an end to all the remaining members of the Whitebeard pirates. That's what you have to do." So, I mean, we also skipped past Weevil took out the AO captain. He's been taking out Whitebeard pirates. And Weevil then goes on to say, they've taken out Doflamingo. It's that boy again, Garp's grandson. Apparently he's the one Marco protected during the Summit Wars. So we could tell Weevil has a grudge against Marco and really wants to get to Marco. Even his mom wants to get to Marco. But the fact that Weevil's mentioning Luffy and bringing up what Luffy's done, it's just super interesting, because to me, this is setting up the table for Weevil going to Wano, finding a way to Wano. If not Wano, maybe later on in the story. But it just sets the table for Weevil searching for Luffy so he can get to Marco. Also, I mean, Marco, what is really the point of bringing Marco into the Wano arc, if not to kind of resolve this the ongoing issues with Weevil? There's been a lot of mention of the Whitebeard pirates in this arc. A lot of mention, I mean, even a couple of chapters ago, we got the whole Remnants chapter where Whitebeard, where they were reminiscing about Whitebeard and just talking about how there's still remnants of Whitebeard's crew around. So there's just been a lot of callbacks to that. So I think Weevil's going to have a really big part to play soon. Josh, what do you think?
Thanks for that, Jerome. That was a great intro, and that was a really good topic or discussion on Weevil. You hit the nail on the head for mostly everything that I was going to talk about. What I think about Weevil is, I mean, him and his mom. I think his mom is called Bakken. I think that's her name. I mean, she used to be a part of the Rocks. He's Whitebeard's son. He's looking for Marco. He's looking for Luffy. Where are they? They're on Wano. Wano has been a very Whitebeard arc. We got a great backstory, Odin's backstory, where Whitebeard was a major player in that. And so I feel like what better time than to have him there than Wano. And of course, Garp has made the comparison, Sengoku as well. The Marines are basically saying, if the rocks reunite, then we're going to have a problem. The narrator has even kind of foreshadowed that the Rock Pirates might be making a comeback. So I just feel like he's just the perfect kind of segue into that. I really don't see what purpose he would have outside of being on Wano if it's not for that very purpose, in which it feels as though Oda has subtly been foreshadowing that. So, Foodie, I know you're over there shaking your head. We're trying to convince you at this point. What do you really think the issue is with Weevil showing up on Wano?
What the issue is with... Okay. So to answer your question directly, I don't think he's showing up in Wano. I don't personally think. Now, it is a very popular and a pretty reasonable theory that he would show up on Wano. I understand how people... My thought of how Weevil will be used has a tool to show how powerful the SSGs are. Let's go back a little bit. The Special Science Group. Last time we heard of now the defunct Shikubai system. Sorry, I mispronounced that. The SSG force created by Vegapunk were going after all the 7 warlords, all the warlords now that have lost their title, and they were gonna go. Now, this includes, and this is kind of wild here, so bear with me. This includes Mihawk, Hancock, Buggy, and Weevil, along with the other notable pirates. So with that said, we have a special science group made by Vegapunk going after these now defunct warlords. And I think if there was ever a group that could take down all the warlords, capture them in the name of the Marines, it would have to be a group made by Dr. Vegapunk, the greatest scientist. So that's how I think Weevil will be used. Just to sum it up, has a very powerful pirate that was captured by a creation by Dr. Vegapunk. That's how I personally think Dr. Weevil will be used.
So my question to that would be, what is the point of having this big grudge between Weevil and the Whitebeard Pirates? Also, I mean, it's not just the Whitebeard Pirates. There's something I skipped over. Weevil has a huge grudge against Blackbeard as well. When Blackbeard's mentioned, he says, I'm going to shred him to pieces. He isn't getting away with this. Why does he say that? Because Blackbeard was the one who killed Whitebeard. To me personally, if Wano's The Four Emperors arc, I personally do think that there is a good chance that Blackbeard comes up. If Blackbeard does show up, I could see Weevil getting upset that Blackbeard shows up. That starts a fight between the two, and then Blackbeard just wipes the floor with them. But that is one thing that I skipped over. But what would be the point of having Weevil have all these grudges and just it leads to he's captured by the SSG?
That's a very good point. Josh, did you want to add to it? Is there anything else that you want to counter?
Actually, the question was for you, Kevin. If you could actually...
No, it was for me, but I also...
It was directly for you.
It was directly for me. I just want all the smoke first. I want all the smoke. Josh, you have anything else to add?
I do. I will tell you something. I understand completely where you're coming from. I think the SSG, Vegapunk, has obviously created like countless of amazing things, and that the SSG cannot be taken lightly, and it needs to be shown in a way that it is capable of capturing powerful pirates. That being said, I believe that it would have to capture a good pirate, someone who the fans like. For example, someone like Hancock, who we think is fairly strong. What if the SSG captures her? That would kind of make more sense. That would also give Luffy a reason to want to go after the world government. Whereas if it's Weevil, I feel like he's more of a protagonist. He's looking for Marco. He's looking for Luffy, and they're already on Wano. We're not even in the climax. We're just like getting to the peak of Act 3. We're not even in Act 4 yet. So I get where you're coming from, but I really do think that the SSG will probably capture. I would lean more towards Hancock than I would towards Weevil.
Okay, so that's a great point as well. So the 2 points here and the 2 questions. First off, SSGs are more likely to capture the good characters, the characters which folks are more readers, One Piece fans are more emotionally attached to, which I agree. And to Jerome's great point, Weevil has been built up, has been shown to have grudges against some of these characters that are having quite a prevalent impact on the series right now. So why would Oda kind of just put him aside and just capture him? Is that right? Okay. Now, this is going to be a reach here, right? But I stand by it. You guys can feel free to disagree it. We got to take a little bit more context as to who Oda is, really, to really understand this. Oda is an amazing writer. Shakespearean almost, you could say, in the anime world. I think the literary device that he's using here is a smokescreen. I think he's been able to build up Weevil into this great character in which a lot of people are anticipating and which a lot of people are seeing something in, to divert us away from how he wants to use Weevil in the future. I think when you look at Weevil, this character design, he kind of looks like this is not me. This is things that people even on Reddit have pointed out. He kind of looks like the rough draft of Queen. He kind of looks like a more unrefined version. So it kind of looks like maybe he didn't put that much time. He's like, hey, maybe let's add in this character Weevil last minute.
Do you think Oda is the person to add in characters like that last minute?
Let me finish.
You're giving us the Oda breakdown. I mean,
no.
Sounds like he put major characters in out of nowhere. But continue.
Let me finish. This is why I have a strong sense that being used as a smokescreen, as a diversion away from the story, and to also being used to show how strong the SSG really is, has greater value to the One Piece story than it would if Weevil were to interject into the Straw Hats and into the Straw Hat Alliance and start kind of playing a role into that. That's how I see Weevil.
So Weevil getting taken down by the SSGs would be more impactful than like a Rocks reunion?
I think the SSG would be more impactful, actually, because what that shows is the SSGs are a force that, honestly, what that really shows is if the SSGs are able to capture powerful pirates in that sense, that could really show the urgency and the importance to kind of hurry up to get to the One Piece. And it can kind of it disrupts the balance of power in the world, which is one of the things that everybody's really paying attention to. Because if there's no more SSGs and the Marines have the power now to capture pirates of that level, what does this mean for the winner of Wano? What does this mean for Blackbeard?
I guess everybody will just lose to SSGs.
Not necessarily. You still have Blackbeard, who's a powerful pirate. Might take more resource to beat them, and we don't know what the outcome of Wano is going to be in the end.
That's super interesting.
Definitely make some good points there, Kevin. I understand where you're coming from, but I think, to me personally, in terms of an impactful storytelling, like, we know Hancock's. I'm going back to Hancock just for an example. Again, I have no idea what the SSGs are going to do. I haven't really put thought into it, but I feel like if any of the warlords would make a big impact on being captured, it would be Hancock, because we know what her backstory was, what they did to her. They rendered her as a slave, and she wants nothing to do with it. Just her being captured again would be would be pretty impactful to me. That'd be pretty emotional. And Luffy knows that she doesn't want to be there. I feel like, as I said, would be a better way for Luffy to direct his attention to the world government. And man, I don't know. I just feel like back in being a part of the Whitebeard's old crew, Big Mom's there, Kaido's there. Like, do you really not see Weevil going to Wano at all? Like, you wouldn't put any amount of money on Weevil making it to Wano? We were not convincing enough for you?
It's been hinted at heavily.
Like, have we not convinced you? The whole point of this discussion is not to like us to be like, yeah, you're wrong, because Oda's a very, very great writer.
You know what?
Go anyway.
No.
You know what? I see the point. I see your point.
You see the light, you mean?
You know what? You guys make good points, and it's possible. But from me, how I see the story, I see him more as the smokescreen.
Do you not see your point as a much far-reaching stretch? Way far-reaching, way more far-reaching than actual evidence. We got points, chapters, quotes, and you're saying, no, he's going to go to the SSG. And I'm not saying that's wrong. It could happen, but
exactly, yeah.
You're just not acknowledging any other points.
No. I am.
You even said the SSG would be more impactful than Rox, and if Rox is a real person, this is a pirate who captained Whitebeard, Kaido.
Okay, wait. So wait, you guys are saying that when you meant Rox, you're talking about Rox the pirate, Rox the Sebek coming back along with Weevil?
I mean, even if it was just a reunion of the crew,
okay,
that's impactful enough. But I mean, in my personal opinion, if the crew's getting back together, Oda's made hints at a sleeping villain who we've seen before, who is lurking in the background. I think it would be Rox. He's the only villain that kind of his status lurks in the background. So I do think it sets it up for him to actually come back. And that's why I think Weevil being that missing Whitebeard, which is like one of the puzzle pieces that's fitting in, that's a lot more impactful than just SSG's OP.
Okay. That's another good point.
It's I just really, honest to God, I feel as though, like, you look at the characters, for me, this is how I look at it. You just look at each character and you can just kind of know what role they have in the story. And I really feel as though Oda has kind of already given us Weevil's role. I mean, he basically gave him his direction, his path. We know he has beef with Luffy, Marco, and Blackbeard. And I mean, why would you introduce a character like that if you're just going to have them used as a sandbag for the SSG? Other characters, you know, Mihawk's role, he needs to at some point be where Zoro is so they can fight. So you know it's not going to be Mihawk. Buggy, you know, he's not really that strong of a pirate, so him being captured isn't going to really showcase their strength. And although Weevil is strong, yes, Kizaru has given him like that hype of young Whitebeard. His bounty isn't really that crazy anymore. We're in the billions now. And so even if he did get captured, us fans are not going to really care that much, right? Mm-hmm. Because he's not really that strong. I mean, Luffy's probably way stronger. By the time the Straw Hats are done with Wano, they're probably all going to be stronger than him, to be honest. So it's not, the SSG might very well just be like opponents for the Straw Hats moving out of Wano. Who knows? You know what I mean? So I more so just think that Weevil, although he might not have a crazy role in the story, maybe he'll might just be a filler character for a potential Rox reunion. But I think his role just has to be in Wano, just because everything Whitebeard right now is happening in Wano.
Yeah, and I think it's important that like every warlord has also, I mean, basically had a chance to show their strength. And if it happened off panel for Weevil, I just don't really see what was the point of having him in the story at all.
But you know what? If Weevil is captured by the SSG, I will not call it bad writing. I would be very shocked, and I would give you your props. But I just wouldn't put money on it, and that's nothing. And
whatever Oda makes happens, it's going to happen in an awesome way, and I'm sure we're all going to be happy with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe the SSG capture everyone and everyone's in one place and then they break out. I don't know. But yeah, no, great debate. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Kevin?
No, that's pretty much it. I think Josh also summed up some good points there at the end.
All right. As always, everybody, like, comment, subscribe. Please let us know what you think. Yeah. And take care. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.